One thing, guys, that is unfortunately true is that there are not as many bookstores around as there used to be. So I went and Googled bookstores in my area, and I found one 7 miles from me. So being a nice day, I dusted the old bike off and went out for a bike ride, a 14-mile round trip, and I was blown away. This place had books stacked to the ceiling, stack after stack. It was an incredible adventure, and I got 5 books that I think I'm going to enjoy, some of which I've wanted to collect for some time now, and I'm starting this book haul off with number 1, Dune by Frank Herbert. This book won the very first Nebula Award, and many people take it to be the best science fiction series ever put together, and it's been very successful. I know when I was in the bookstore, I saw many sequels to this thing, and I picked this one up. It's a brand new paperback. One thing that I don't like to do when I'm thinking about reading a new book, I do not like to investigate the thing because I've had so many spoilers that I've encountered when I've done that. So I know that this one takes place on a desert planet. I know that it's highly recommended, and I think that I'm really going to enjoy it based on the recommendations that I've got. That's all I know about this thing, so I think I'm going to enjoy it. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you've read this book or any of the other books in this haul. Book number 2, The Vampire Armand by Anne Rice. I recently finished The Queen of the Damned, which is the 3rd book in the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, and I love the Vampire Armand. He's a little guy, a very powerful guy, and I'm interested in his story. He was in Interview with the Vampire. He was in The Vampire Lestat, so he's a popular character in this series, and I want his biography. I'm assuming this is either a biography written by Lestat or an autobiography written by Armand. I assume it's his backstory. I'm not going to investigate any further, but I'm pretty darn sure that I'm going to love this book. Book number 3 is a crime fiction book that I'm actually reading now. I'm reading a beat-up paperback. I was quite pleased to find a paperback in good shape of The Angel of Darkness by Caleb Carr. Now, this is the sequel to a book that I read earlier this year, which is called The Alienist, a really successful novel. There's a miniseries now on Netflix, I believe, and I loved The Alienist. I really liked the characters. This cast of characters is one of my favorites. In the last book, John Moore was the narrator, while the crew investigated a horrible series of crimes that was happening in 1896 New York City. This one takes place a year later, and the narrator has changed. We're with little Stevie Taggart this time. I'm about 150 pages into this thing, and I'm really enjoying it. Cannot wait to review it in the near future, and I thought $4 for an in-good-shape paperback was a great deal. Book number 4, I actually got 2 science fiction novels. I picked up Dune and Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. Now, I know nothing about this book other than it's been recommended. I know it's got a good rating on many of the literary sites, and the real reason that I'm wanting to read this one is because I'm broadening my horizons as a fantasy and science fiction reader. I'm really into this stuff now with the Brandon Sanderson and the Alastair Reynolds and everything else that I've been reading, and I just need to read a Robert Heinlein, and I picked this one because it seems to me that this is the most popular book that he wrote. I'm not sure that I've ever heard a bad review on this thing. The cover actually says, the most famous science fiction novel ever written. I don't know if that's true. That might even go to Dune. But I want to read this because I think it's probably his best work, or at least it seems that that's the case to me from what I've heard, and my gut instinct is that I'm going to love this one as well. And number 5, the last book that I picked up today, Scary Stories, More Tales to Chill Your Bones by Alvin Schwartz. This is the 3rd in a series that I remember from my childhood. We had them at school, and the reason I picked this up is because I leafed through it briefly, and I see that the short stories in here are very short, like a page or two, and I myself am thinking about writing the occasional short story and narrating it aloud here on my channel, so I think that this book will make a good study for me as someone who's trying to get in to writing some of my own stories. Well, there you have it, guys. 5 books that I am looking forward to reading and reviewing here on my channel. I'm especially looking forward to Dune. I've wanted to read it for many years, and I finally own a brand new paperback. And I'm looking forward to going back to that bookstore and going through the thousands of selections that she has. Just that is going to be a lot of fun. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Let me know if you have a book recommendation for me. Thanks for dropping by, guys. I'll see you next time.